Hey, my name is Shadowsense and you're watching Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. This guy just found us feeding on some unhoused woman in the middle of a park in New York. And he called us a lick, which I think is a slur for vampire? I'm not sure. But he's asking who we're with, so... Chill out, I'm with the Camarilla. He does anything but chill out. He immediately tenses up and gives you an extremely nasty look and bares his fangs. You with the ivory tower cunts, huh? Well, tonight's my lucky night. I'ma fuck you up and bring you to Callahan. He'll have some fun breaking your shins, and maybe by the end of it, I'll get to have a nice long sip. Wonder what you taste like, lick. He does his best impression of Hannibal Lecter's and a nice Chianti shtick, but he's not as intimidating as he thinks. What, did he just go... It's so funny that this comes up because Ice Nine Kills just dropped a music video based on Silence of the Lambs called Meet and Greet, and during the breakdown, Spencer goes... It's fucking awesome, and I love it. Oh god, Ooh, I can use celerity. I'm gonna go ahead and just do that. You take off. Fast. Faster than you've ever run. The hoodlum has trouble keeping up, but howls behind you like an animal and gives chase anyway. Oh god, is he a gangrel? As you reach the Unisphere again, you slow down, noticing two people near the sculpture. A man and woman tangled in a passionate embrace. No, not exactly. Feeding. But this whole scene is set up so that it looks like a couple getting intimate in public. She pulls it off like she's done it 100 times before. It occurs to you that she probably has. The man is unsure on his feet as she lets go of him and leads him towards a nearby bench. Noticing you, she whispers something into his ear and then leaves him. Her driver appears from behind a tree. Well, Shadow, how did it go? You're about to answer when the same figure as before emerges from one of the alleys. He looks at the three of you, and a predatory smile creeps onto his lips. You thought you could run away from me, lick? Think you'll be safe with your friends? Well, I have friends too. He makes a motion to shout, but two things happen at almost the same time. First, that feeling of warmth and beauty emanating from Sophie flares up again, entrancing both you and the hooded thug. His shout comes out as a weak, confused squeak. Second, Gregory produces a wooden stake from a holster under his jacket and slams it into the thug's chest. Just like that, in a few seconds, the posturing vampire is down on the ground paralyzed. I see you've made a friend, Shadow. Curious choice of company, I would say. Who is he? He said something about presenting me to somebody named Callahan. Ever heard of him? She looks shocked for a split second, then recovers her regular countenance. Yes, I have. This hoodlum is Anarch, then. Curious. Corona Park has not been claimed by any kindred, last I checked. Let's go to the car. We'll put him in the trunk and present him to Gadir tomorrow night. I'm sure he'll be delighted to make this Unbound's acquaintance. Gregory carries the staked vampire and dumps him in the car's trunk like a mannequin. It's a strange sight, and you're quite happy you're not in that poor fucker's shoes right now. It's almost surprising that you can get away with just casually throwing a stiff into your car and driving away, but then you remember that Sophie has been doing this for far longer than you have. Still, the nagging thought of that anything you did tonight could have been recorded on a CCTV camera or picked up by a rando with a half-decent smartphone and streamed online fills you with dread. Hunting and using your abilities is a dangerous business. It's clear that this whole being a vampire thing has about as many caveats as it has perks. You're taken out of your headspace by Sophie's voice. I will pick you up tomorrow night, same as tonight. I have some business to attend to at Elysium and I expect you to accompany me. Plus, our friend in the back needs to be properly introduced to Kadir and the Prince. I'm sure he'll have something interesting to say to the court. Her voice is cold, cruel, and nothing like the enchanting personality she showed at the gallery earlier tonight. Sophie is clearly a woman of many faces. Oh yeah, I can imagine he's going to enjoy the meeting Kadir. Hope he gives him a good grilling. The guy's an asshole. Oh, Kadir will enjoy it too, I'm sure. She pauses, seemingly lost in thought for a while. You haven't told me how your hunting went. Getting the hang of it, I would hope. I'll need some time to get used to this. It doesn't come naturally. It will with time. You need to think about it less. Hunting is the one scenario in which you'll do well to trust your instincts. In moderation, of course. She seems distracted, not all there. Her thoughts drift and the car remains silent until you reach your apartment. We will pick you up tomorrow evening. Good night. Oh, that's Radio City Music Hall. Shit, just noticed that. Just like that, without any further courtesy, Sophie leaves, driven to her apartment by Gregory with a body in the trunk. Right in the middle of Manhattan. Did you cross paths with situations like these in the past unknowingly? What other secrets did you pass on the streets without knowing their true nature? Your haven is just as you left it hours ago. Although the sun won't come up for some time, you feel tired. You learned something about yourself today, and it'll take time to process. You're not in the mood for television, and the few books on the shelves in the apartment are either in languages you don't speak or sound like a boring read. Nothing left to do but rest. You settle in the back room, lock the door. A moment of hesitation, but then a decision. This time you turn the light off. You think back to Julie. How many people in the city know about this vampiric society? How many are willing accomplices in sustaining it? And the thug you met in the park? If he's not Camarilla, then what is he? Are there independent vampires? How does that work? Well, Sophie said he's Anarch, so probably a Gangrel. Gangrel are part of the Camarilla, right? I'm not too sure on like what's Camarilla, what's Sabat, and what's Anarch. But the Anarchs are still also part of the Camarilla, to my understanding. I don't know. I still need to do a lot of reading on the like lore and stuff, so don't mind me just asking questions aloud because I'll answer myself sooner. More questions. You begin wondering if there's ever going to be a night you can start crossing them off the list instead of adding to it. You close your eyes. You sink into the now familiar void of nothingness. It greets you with open arms like an old friend. Time for a little resty rest. You open your eyes. It's pitch dark here, the blackness of a coffin drifting in the abyss. Oh, right, the light. You grasp for the switch, flip it. The familiar cramped room with a steel door and no windows comes into view. You emerge from the bedroom fully awake, just like yesterday. This time, however, Sophie is waiting for you, comfortably seated in the sofa in your living room space, a book in her hand. The Melancholy of Resistance. The title's sure on brand. Good evening, Shadow. Good evening, Sophie. I hope you rested well. Tonight will be quite eventful, I think. Come, we have an appointment. I received word Elysium would be called again tonight on account of your unruly friend from Corona Park. This should be a great opportunity for you to mingle. She keeps talking as you walk down the stairs and get in the car. Gregory gives you a slight nod and a small smile while opening the door for Sophie. He starts the car while you take your seat in the back. Most of the Primogen Council is bound to be there, at least those who usually attend. Probably some other important personalities you do well to at least learn about. Yeah. Anyone I should talk to when we arrive? Not especially. My advice would be to try to talk to the prince and perhaps reassure her of your gratefulness for being spared. Maybe speak to Kadir on the same topic if you get a hold of him. The Primogen I would advise against. They are rather stuck up, all told, and even if they will talk to you, they might try to secure you for some nefarious purpose. I wouldn't appreciate that. Of course, be respectful if anybody approaches you and strikes up a conversation. I won't. Ugh. That one snuck up on me. I apologize. You will no doubt be gossiped about, as will I. Keep a cool head. Some enjoy provoking fledglings into stupid acts. At any rate, you should behave yourself tonight. Remember what I told you about reflecting on me as your patron. I have a reputation to uphold in the court. Do not tarnish it. She strikes me as someone who's Ventrue. Not Toreador, though. Probably Ventrue. There it is. She might have saved you. She might be protecting you and teaching you. But it's clear what she's really concerned about. Her own interests. You step into the art hole with something of a bad memory. The last time you were here, your entire world had been turned upside down and your existence nearly ended. But tonight, there is very little outward hostility. Yes, Kadir gives you a look that's definitely intended to remind you of your place, but the prince, also in attendance, seems pleased to see you. Welcome, Sophie. Shadow, did I get that right? Good evening to both of you. I understand there is somebody else you wish to present to the court tonight. Yes, Prince. They will be joining us shortly, and my assistant is retrieving them presently. This better be worth the prince's time, Langley. The prince gives Kadir a cold glance. Forgive the sheriff's harshness. He's in a particularly foul mood tonight. Something to do with Shadow's begetter eluding his grasp, I believe. Ouch. That must have hurt his ego, even if his only reply is a crooked smile. The mention of your sire makes you come back to all the talk of eschewing societal norms and disillusionment with the status quo you enjoyed back in the club. Look at you now, behaved, agreeable. She likely wouldn't be too happy with this whole setup. Prince, court, hierarchy, titles. But hey, she's gone. Probably forever. If you ever break out of this, it'll be on your own. The flaring up of whispers in the gallery hall breaks you out of your thoughts. Gregory enters the room, the jumpsuit-clad, inert vampire still staked on his shoulder. The show's about to begin. Sophie's driver places his charge in the middle of the room and nods respectfully to Kadir. The sheriff approaches the vampire and removes the stake from his chest. The captive's eyes flicker to life, and he starts looking around in disbelief. Like a cornered animal, he backs out on all fours, keeps going in circles until he realizes he's trapped. Kadir steps on the man's chest and pins him to the floor. Why, who do we have here? Oh fuck, oh shit, no, come on, don't. Silence. The sheriff takes on an aura of utter dread. He appears as if he's a primal force of nature that's out to get you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do but shrivel in terror. The beast inside you shrieks, and you could swear it happens in unison with the instincts of some of the other guests here tonight. It's unlike anything you've ever experienced in his company during your turbulent first night as a vampire. He really did go too easy on you, all things considered. It seems like it takes all of the hoodlum's willpower to not crawl into a fetal position and start crying. No, please, don't hurt me, man, don't. You and me are going to have a little talk downstairs at the prince's discretion. Please, go ahead, my sheriff. You heard the prince. Get up, let's go. He doesn't wait for a confirmation, he just grabs the man and drags him, kicking and screaming, out of the room. Conversations start all around you, some whispered, some quite overt. Sophie looks somewhat bored of the whole affair, her eyes wander from art piece to art piece, clearly finding nothing to her particular liking. So, what happens now? It'll be at least some minutes before Kadir gets the information he seeks out of this thug. Why not mingle while we wait for him to break? Excuse me. Sophie leaves your side and goes to a corner of the gallery where a group of kindred, some seemingly pretty old-fashioned, gathered. A concierge offers you a drink, still warm, smells nice. Just a sip to start you off. Splash over your palate, coating your tongue and the inside of your cheeks. Nourishment. You're left to your own devices. You have a quick look around. The prince is currently talking to a dark-skinned woman that you recall seeing here those few nights ago. She has a cold but noble countenance to her. Their conversation seems to be casual. A loud, shrill laugh turns your attention to the bespectacled man who you saw with Sophie on the night of your judgment. Oh, there's a typo right there. He's making the rounds, chatting up different patrons. You feel somebody's eyes on you. A casually dressed, plain-looking man stands near a column watching you. He turns his gaze away sheepishly when he realizes you've noticed. Yeah, the guy looking at me. There's something about this guy. It's not that he's staring at you. Most everybody in the room has at one point or another. It's how he does it. He seems shy, maybe even afraid. It's hard to find a secluded spot in the gallery tonight, but this guy has an entire corner of the room all to himself. As you approach, he's standing alone with no glass in hand, worried look on his face. You look worried. Is something wrong? What, besides hanging out with blood-drinking monsters and acting like it's no big deal? No, I guess it's business as usual. His bitterness is palpable. Sorry, having a bad night. Name's Larson, or you can call me Robert. Either is fine. Why are you standing around by yourself like this? I'm not hugely liked around these parts. I'm surprised you wanted to talk to me. Then again, you're new, so probably don't know. I'm one of Prince Panhard's Primogen. I'm here on business, in case the prince requires my insight. Usually it's so she can hear me out before ignoring me. Wasn't supposed to talk to you! Sophie warned me! Not sure if you were paying attention the other night, but when the prince mentioned diverging opinions on whether you should be executed or not, that was me. I was the diverging opinion. And you were ignored. Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Listen, I don't want to be rude and I appreciate you reaching out, but word of advice, stay away from me. Many vampires in this sect regard my position as Primogen to be some kind of a joke, you know? You talk to me, they'll notice, and they'll uphold it against you. Is a cat trying to get into my closet, or is that just Andy sneezing? He's asleep on my bed behind me. You have a quick look behind you and see that a few of the kindred keep shooting you curious glances. One woman in particular, a redhead boasting a fanciful hairstyle, watches you disapprovingly. Some of them already do, I imagine. Excuse me, I need to try to get a word in with a few Primogen members before Kadir returns. Enjoy your night. With just the critical looks of a few kindred to keep you company, you start thinking about who to pursue next. You notice Sophie mingling with other kindred, clearly in her element and not to be disturbed. Kadir hasn't come back yet, so you can probably still find time for at least one conversation. I'm gonna try to talk to the prince, baby! You approach the prince, trying to stay as respectful of her private conversation as possible. She glances at you as you step forward, her scrutinizing gaze mimicked by her companion. She addresses the dark-skinned woman before turning to you. Excuse me for just a moment, Samira. Yes, Shadow, what is it? I wish to thank you for sparing me, Prince. I realized it wasn't an easy decision to make, and I wanted to express my sincere appreciation. How thoughtful of you. She takes a long look at you before she continues. I didn't do it from the kindness of my unbeating heart. You are an asset to Miss Langley, to the Camarilla, and to me. I believe I made the right decision. Prove to me and the other kindred in the city that it was so, and there might be more to your future nights than just survival and servitude. The dark-skinned woman looks impatiently at you and catches the prince's attention. Forgive me, that's all the time I can spare right now. We have some things to discuss with Samira still. Enjoy your night, Shadow. And the same to you, Prince Panhard. The prince nods and turns back to the other woman to continue their conversation. A loud exchange near the staircase grabs everybody's attention. Kadir is back and the hoodlum is with him. The sheriff pushes the other vampire into the side of the room. The vampire that threatened you last night is a mess. A stupid hat is still inexplicably on its head, covering some of his ruined face in welcome shadow. He's barely conscious. His shin is broken, you think. Something protruding there, making the pant leg bulge. One arm seems twisted at a strange angle. Very little blood, surprisingly, but clearly a whole lot of hurt. Well, Kadir, did our guest cooperate? Tell the prince your name. It's Howard. And who do you run with, Howard? The Midnighters. An anarch coterie, my prince. Active for some time now, though from what this one told me, the name is about the only legacy the group has kept over the years. I see. Hey Prince, I didn't mean it. I didn't. A loud crack makes some of the guests audibly gasp as Kadir's slap dislocates a man's jaw. A spray of blood creates something like an abstract art piece on the floor. This one is guilty of threatening a member of the Camarilla and claiming a domain without the prince's approval. That alone would be enough to pass swift judgment, but he is also Anarch scum. My prince? There can only be one verdict. Final death. Do your duty, Sheriff. Unless, of course, somebody would like to play at being Good Samaritan like our dear Miss Langley a few nights ago. The look the prince serves you and Sophie is a cruel jest. Sophie takes it gracefully, smiling and slipping her arm under yours in a strange public show of affection. Nobody says anything. The vampire named Howard jumps to his feet and makes for the window. Ooh. Oh God. Do I want to stop Howard from escaping? Yeah, I'm gonna grab him. In a split second, you make your choice. Focusing your blood, you dash forward and grab Howard by the back of his jumpsuit, pulling him away from the window. You expect some resistance, but you find you don't have to worry about it when a swift cut separates Howard's head from his body. You let go and the headless corpse slumps to the ground. Kadir is standing between you and the window, his sword drawn and an ugly smile on his face. Well, Shadow, your eagerness is laudable, if unnecessary. That Howard fellow couldn't have hoped to escape his fate, not facing Kadir's expertise. However, I have made note of this show of loyalty, on both your and your patron's accounts. I would like to thank Miss Langley for bringing this Anarch thug to my and Kadir's attention. I assume all have found the verdict satisfactory. It's a rhetorical question and everybody here knows it. Then I consider tonight's meeting concluded. Good night to all of you. She steps out of the room and you see that many of the guests move to do the same. Sophie seems to be conversing with somebody, a serious-looking man in a trench coat, about what transpired. You probably have the time to strike up a conversation of your own too. Kadir I don't know how to pronounce that, for one, but clearly getting ready to leave. Larson is still moping around, and the other man you noticed before Kadir brought the Anarch is still chatting with the remaining attendants. I'm trying to talk to the sociable man. The well-dressed man has just finished talking to a few of the guests, who turn toward the stairs to leave the gallery. He notices you approach. Thomas Arturo. Pardon? It's my name. I assumed you'd like to know. I know you. By name only, of course. Shadow? So tell me, how does it feel to go from victor to executioner's accomplice? Or from victim? Well, I just wanted to make myself useful, even if Kadir had everything under control. Right. Nothing like a show of good faith in a public space. I can get that. He takes a moment to clean his glasses, completely ignoring you until he's done and puts them back on. Sorry, got a bit distracted. You know most of us don't need to wear these, right? I can see just fine without them, but it's a statement. The damn things keep catching specks of dust and other assorted shit, though. Never stay clean for long. Sometimes I think they're more trouble than they're worth, don't you agree? I say if it's a pain to wear them and you don't need them, why do it? Why? Well, like I said, it's a statement. Inconvenience is no excuse to stop pursuing perfection. What else is there, really? Right, that was a nice chat. I have to catch up with a few other fellows, like this gentleman over here. Genie! He doesn't even give you a chance to say goodbye. He's already off, putting a hand on the shoulder of a mustachioed man nearby. It's right about when Sophie also ends her conversation and walks over to you. Interesting evening, wasn't it? Come, Gregory's awaiting downstairs. She seems preoccupied with something and not in a talkative mood, and it's an awkward ride back to the city. This time you arrive at another building, just 2 streets across from your apartment. She brings you upstairs through a very nice lobby and a luxurious-looking hall into her domain. Please, have a seat. I shall be right with you. You take in your surroundings. The apartment is like a gallery, an old-school smoking room that you've seen in some period piece once, and a nouveau riche's living room, meticulously combined together. Apologies. Old habits die hard. Clearly some stick with you even after death. She drags on her cigarette and breathes out. Breathes? How is she doing that? Can you do that? Oh yes, you might not know, it takes some practice, but you can keep smoking if you'd like. Other things too. Experiments. You might surprise yourself. But I did not bring you here to show off. This is where I rest these nights. That door in the back, the bedroom. Similar to yours. I have servants and bodyguards in addition, of course. I brought you here because I need you to trust me. When I told you before that I needed your best behavior to uphold my good standing with the court, I meant it. But that's not the whole story. I have your interests in mind too. That's why I've given you your own haven, why I'm trying to teach you how to navigate this new reality. But you need to trust me, or else this won't work. You can come here whenever you like, whenever you feel like asking me something. When you're in trouble too, though I hope that won't happen often. I would ask you to come here when you wake up tomorrow. I'll have something to discuss with you. Alright. I'll come over first thing tomorrow night. I appreciate that. That silence again. There's definitely something going on in Sophie's mind tonight, but she doesn't seem eager to share it with you just yet. I'm leaving for another visit. Come downstairs with me. We'll give you a lift. A quick trip, a promise that you'll show up tomorrow, and some polite goodbyes later, you open the door to your haven and gather your thoughts. It's exciting in a way, being dragged deeper and deeper into this secret society and its rules. Whatever Sophie has planned for you, it's bound to teach you more about this thing you have become. You sink into your vampiric sleep with just a sliver of hope. It's a welcome change. And that is where we're going to end the episode. So, thank you guys so very much for watching the video. I'm really enjoying this so far. It's very intriguing, and I can't wait to just sink my teeth into it more. That time, the pun was intended. So anyway, thank you guys so very much for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this one, please consider subscribing. And until then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.